We go live to Ottawa, where Jennifer Migneault is speaking to reporters. She is the wife who confronted the Veterans Affairs Minister over not being supported enough. Let's just take a listen here. She's the wife of a veteran.
NDP, I'm sorry, was a little bit of our story, the challenges that I have every day with my husband. I wanted to let all the MPs know how much us caregivers means the difference between life and death, basically. I'm sorry, the words are kind of missing. I need people to understand what we're going through every day. I need people to understand how much we love them. And when we talk about PTSD, we not only talk about military PTSD, it's the reality for every caregivers, and we are forgotten. We need those training in order to love and to be there in an appropriate way for our husband, because every single little thing, every little difference is huge. And like I said, this is what makes the difference between life and death. I know for sure that when my husband is thinking about that, my face is in his mind. We need to recognize that. That's all I have to say for now. Sorry. Just wondering. J'ai eu l'occasion de partager avec le NDP un brin de mon histoire
a part of my personal history, and that is the one of hundreds of women like me who were forgotten by the system, who love their husband from the bottom of their heart, but they're just at a loss, facing the challenge. The question that I've asked: remember that our men were trained to fight, and consequently, when they are having nightmares at night, it's 2 and 3 per night on very intense length of periods. When we are 130 pounds, how do we wake them up? Do you understand? Those are basic questions. How much it makes a difference in the life of the injured ones, of the spouses and the families. It's time for us to look at our situation, the natural helpers, the caregivers, that we have a full profile of our hurts. And I'm not the only one. I have the privilege as a citizen and wife of a veteran, as a civilian. I do not represent anybody except the love I have for my husband. What are you asking today, and are you meeting with other parties? Mr. Fantino? I haven't heard from Mr. Fantino or from Mr. Parmgill. I must tell you that I haven't tried to call them back. My target today, and I really appreciate the NDP's invitation to give me the opportunity to express myself. I want to make them conscious of the reality of the spouses and the injured veterans as well, because the system is incomplete right now. We need training, additional training that are necessary and allow us to manage the situations we live at home better and reintegrate the part-time job market. For instance, since I returned to school, and I was able to go back and find a social work, and I was able in such a way for my husband that today he can, the consultations that he has with his psychologist are by phone. Concretely, what it means is that we do not get any fees or that are reimbursed for going to those appointments. So those are economies. Those are concrete situations that we can bring.
And we must be considered as allies, because the impact we can have actually can have an economical impact. I'm sorry, you get the picture. Huge, but not only money-wise for the government, but mostly for my husband. You should see the difference it made just because I learned how to listen to him appropriately. Just that.
So what are you asking exactly? Like, what was your message to MPs in terms of what you need that you would like the government to do?
I would like to be recognized as a military caregiver, just like the U.S. already do. I mean, like I said, I have no idea on how effective these programs are in the U.S., but when I go on their webpage, like, I'm impressed. I feel forgotten here, let me tell you, because in the U.S. they have access to workshop, resources, calling center. Go look at it, VA caregiver. You'll see the difference. Go on the VAC page, web page, and check it out as a spouse, as a family member. You'll see the difference by yourself, and this is what I'm asking, this recognition that would allow me to be trained effectively dealing with the challenges related to PTSD.
The House Committee yesterday made some recommendations about the new Veterans Charter.
Yes.
One of those recommendations involved military families. Have you read that recommendation, and if the government were to implement that, would that help you?
As a matter of fact, I didn't have the time to fully look at the recommendation, as we are going to talk about it tomorrow at the press conference, other spouses and I. So
say that, there would be more help for spouses. They'd have access to psychosocial and other supports.
like I said, these are recommendations. Like, these are recommendations. Like, I think we could take the opportunity and be heard, since, decision, from what I understand, will be taken in 3 months or something like that. So I invite Mr. Fantino. I'd love to share with him what I was able to share with the NDP today.
You said a few moments ago that you didn't call them back. You didn't call the minister. Why didn't you call him back? I must admit that I'm a natural caregiver, and it's big what happened in my life since last Thursday. And every trip, every event have an impact on my husband. You see him, and he looks good, and he's currently in hyper-vigilance mode right now. I can assure you, this is my everyday life. Should I have make an extra effort to meet Mr. Fantino? I don't know. It's just an effort for just to being here, and I'm tired myself, just as the other women I know. I'm alone. I don't know who to turn to. But tomorrow there'll be a press conference, and a few veterans' spouses will talk on the recommendation, and I will officially throw the ball back into Mr. Fantino's court.